play this song on the TV real quick, please. Fuck.
Too late. She's live streaming. Bark.
Okay. Apparently I'm live streaming now.
Yep.
Without me dying.
Nugget don't want you to die. Nugget likes you. Nugget likes you as a friend. What?
Nothing. Anyway, I'm gonna get on this game. Make this bigger, please, to where I can see. And I need to make this smaller for, well, everybody to be able to see. Okay. Okay. I had to fix stuff.
And I gotta fix Java.
Yo, we're live on Minecraft. What's up? What's up, George the Demon? What's up? Woo!
George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree. I warned him.
So, Ren, Snack, Trey, do me a favor, spread this around.
All around is the speed of sound. I don't know why I got Sonic stuck in my head. Wait, pronunciation of Sonic.
You mean pronunciation?
I'm dumb. I can't understand that word. I don't have the brains to do that. Or the brain cells to do it. Nugget's brain cells is dumb. Nugget doesn't know pronunciation. Bar. It's quiet.
Okay, so apparently I'm flying. Where is the fun in that?
What fun.
Apparently everybody's talking about speed. Apparently.
Speed is key. Gotta go fast.
Oops. Okay.
Barb.
I can't breathe.
Brave on, brave!
Oh, Minor Fisher, you are a lucky son of a gun. They were able to loot a Phantom Head.
They lucky. How you can loot a phantom head?
Why would you shoot your dog, Irish? That is mean. hurt the poor pupper. Okay. So we just gotta wait until my husband attempts to get on the game and the game not be an ass butt to him.
Sorry, I'm having malfunction problems. Give me a sec. Work! Work! How you working now? Or I have to go Markiplier on you and do a bitch slap on you. Or should I say, hello everyone, Markiplier here.
No, don't do that. I don't want it.
And watch me bust this computer up!
I don't want Markiplier hating me for that. No. I mean, he may think it's funny, but no.
Hey, do not laugh challenge, Markiplier. You always fail!
Hey, the only way that he would fail if we were doing a do not laugh challenge for him to do would basically us make poop jokes and funny words.
Oh, I know how to make them laugh. My life. That's how hilarious it is.
Anyway. It would be really...
Or I could talk about the demon in my closet.
Let's not talk about demons, okay?
His name is Jesus. He's a Mexican.
Talk to the demon.
No.
Put the fan on. There. Fan.
It's bad enough Genji's in there. I don't know.
Smoke everywhere. Oh, my eyes. Hi, sis. Hi, Yuri. Sorry.
Nothing to say. I can't.
Hello, sus.
I have the thing in. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm having malfunction problems.
Sorry, guys. My husband that I'm living with right now is cooking and doesn't know how to friggin' put, like, something over the goddamn friggin' hamburgers or something that he's making.
I did. Thank you very much. How about you actually tell the stream the correct thing?
Nobody asked for your opinion. I need to.
Tell the fucking truth, motherfucker.
You know what? I'm gonna wear my shirt next time and said, it's like, where did I ask for your opinion? That's right. That's what I thought. Don't you dare. My eyes already fucking burn.
But only one thing, hon, I have an idea for a shirt.
I know Salt has that compound. Never mind.
But I have a shirt design for her, hon. That you probably would think would be hilarious.
No.
Oh
Oh no, you're roboting.
in the back. Am I good? I'm about to get the sledgehammer. Now, am I good?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I'd have a good shirt design for me.
Oh.
And you might like it. It says, with the Izumi up front, and it says, come at me, bitch. In the back.
I'm losing my mind. Ah, that's what I was looking for.
I had lost my mind for, if I'm on Minecraft now.
Oh gosh, it's so... Hun. Oh yeah, I can make myself sound like a little bitch. Now move it, extras.
I thought this was a PG. Now I'm my Christian Minecraft server.
This is not a Christian Minecraft server last time I checked.
Oh yeah, everything got heads.
Oh my god. More smoke!
And I got not connected. Yay! Thanks a lot, Minecraft. Get my hopes and dreams up and fail.
Has anybody seen Bond?
No, Elaine, nobody's seen Bond. I'm sorry.
Guessing he's out.
Ah!
Sorry.
Meh. Meh.
I can't. God damn it, Trey.
You know what everything needs? A little good laugh. Meh. Jesus, Cup, why you don't whip it out? God sakes, I got a headache. Ah, good taste of a good drink. Not advertised to buy anything. Oh, we have a new person in chat.
Yep, I put the live stream link in the genuine Minecraft server.
Ah,
Yeah.
hello, new. What's the name of that? I can't even pronounce it. Cold.
Being Elaine.
How do you say that?
Okay.
Ah,
Sorry if I'm butchering your name because I am stupid and I have a disability.
I think it's Cold Raker? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
See, I told you I butchered that name so hard.
Even I would.
I apologize.
We both apologize.
We apologize.
Do-do-do-do.
Sorry, because me and my wife had a brain as a result. There goes my brain.
There goes me
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
get my.
Oh, chocolate. Oh,
Remember to everyone tonight.
Hope.
mm,
Of course you did.
chocolate.
Oh, there's a
What the
snake.
heck?
I never will lose interest.
I would get on gym, but everything's crashing. Because everything is. Sorry, I got Danny Phantom song stuck in my head now.
Hey.
Bye.
Remember, I don't want to get in trouble for certain stuff.
Get in here. I'm gonna look at the camera. It's not the man in black pen.
Okay.
Brain hurts. Minecraft. Work. Work for me, dumb.
My cup is in. Milk is in.
Mm. There's 6 people in the watching.
Woo.
Hey, Hun gets more views than me I ever do on my live streams. Now I'm a sad boy. Cause I can't do any live streams.
Sorry guys, I'm kind of trying to not die over here of smoke inhalation. Ripperoni Alexander James M. Jeez. Ripperoni.
Alright, come on. Minecraft, work for me.
Wee. Ow.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I'm gonna lead the hey, I gotta change my skin.
You okay? Nom, nom, nom. Oh!
Hmm?
Oh, so, Cold Racker? That's Patrick Star 809. That's
Hmm.
the guy that tried to help us before when someone was in our, mansion and wouldn't leave. And was
Oh.
being a butthole to my,
Oh, wasn't
to my friend.
Ah.
wasn't he one of the ones who was helping us with the whole wedding thing?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. I don't remember. But I'm going mining. Because I'm bored. And I don't have anybody to join me in
I
doing
think I'm
such.
coming in.
Please.
Well, either way, I'm glad he was able to help you all.
Yee.
Come on, Minecraft gods, let me in.
Let me in. I'm waiting.
Joining the world.
I almost
Loading up.
loading.
I am here.
Are you?
Hey!
I can see. I see our room. Yep. Holy crap, there's a lot of people on here.
Yeah, that's a lot of people on.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yay! Now get your butt down here and help me mine.
Slight problem.
What?
Got no inventory room.
What'd you do?
I got too much shit on me.
Then, okay. Let me come back to you then.
Cause somebody takes over the boxes.
Thank
I mean,
you.
all my.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
What the? Did I fucking crash?
Yes.
God damn it! Minecraft, stop making it crash. I was in and then I got pulled out.
Oh my god.
I'm just waiting till it pops up again. We have 7 people watching.
Yep.
Because everything it was taken up.
Oh no. Yay!
What?
Nothing.
Oh well.
Don't go there.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
But
Uh-huh.
anyway, we're gonna scoochie on, and I'm putting stuff up.
Soda. Come here, pork rind. I'm waiting until this thing looks.
Tries to boop the tray.
Dodges.
What?
Damn it, tray.
Ultra instinct.
Damn it, tray.
Okay. Second time is the charm.
Let's try this again. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Trey.
Ah, yeah.
I just say I'm joining world. Everything's loaded up. God damn it crashed me. I'll wait till Java is installed. It's got 5 minutes.
There.
Wait, did other thing give you the place, son?
Huh?
Did Blazing give you the house?
This one? No. He gave me access to it.
Ah,
That's why I'm using it. Ouch.
I got 4 minutes on Java.
Until I won't let you in, because Java's not completely updated yet, or up in yet.
Yeah. Hurry up, Java! I want to play. I still gotta finish the ship. Hmm. We had 7 people watching.
Yep.
Three minutes to download. Mm. Now 2 minutes. Now we dropped to 5 people.
I'm just gonna end stream, guys. It was fun, but yeah.
Mm.
So, bye.
Next time I would join. See you later, guys.